going, guys? I'd like to welcome you to my second review on my channel, and that is for my February Game of the Month, Evolve. So here's the case. Nothing special here. I don't believe they did a special edition of the game to where you can get anything special with the case or anything like that. So standard case, no big deal there. So Evolve. Obviously, this was my most anticipated game of 2015. Absolutely fell in love with the game, or the idea of the game, back at E3 of last year when they showed it off there. And I've always been a huge fan of the Left 4 Dead series, so kind of getting that same kind of gameplay, but now in kind of like a hunt monster type game certainly was excited and piqued my interest. So kind of get the dry stuff out of the way first. This one's done by Turtle Rock Studios, obviously same guys behind the Left 4 Dead franchise. It is an FPS shooter with a 4v1 mechanic, 4 hunters against 1 monster. You can have any kind of combination of player-controlled characters or bots, with an AI that's actually pretty tough at times. So if you don't have enough friends to play with, or you want to play it by yourself, you're certainly going to get a challenge out of it. It's not going to be something you'll be able to roll over pretty quickly like Call of Duty bots on beginner, if you will. So like I mentioned, single player as well as multiplayer, mainly meant for multiplayer. But like I said, it does have a single player characteristic to the game. Didn't really play a whole lot with that, but it is there if that's something you're looking for. $60 retail price, like normal, and it does come with a, lack of a better word, maybe possibly confusing DLC or extensive DLC, really might be a good word for it. So I'll kind of run down for it. It did come with a season pass, $24.99, I believe. If you pre-ordered the game, you got the 3rd tier of hunters and monsters unlocked right away. The season pass will then now give you an additional access to the 4th set of hunters when those come out, as well as skins for the monsters and the hunters. If you pre-ordered the game, you get the 4th monster for free. The Behemoth has already been announced. There hasn't been an official release date, I believe, yet for it, but it has been announced. There is a 5th monster also in the works. That particular monster is going to actually be a PC exclusive for the first 30 days of the game releasing, and then it'll come out to consoles after that when it does come out. You have the monster expansion pack, which gets you all of the monsters if you didn't pre-order them. And then all of the monsters, all of the hunters can be bought with or without the passes or the packs for individual prices. I believe the hunters are either $5.99 or $7.99, and then the monsters are $14.99. And it's this DLC, this kind of the way they set it up, that really got a lot of people up in arms about Evolve. To me, that's another topic for another video, another day. But bottom line for me is the most important DLC that's going to come with this game, the part that is going to prevent you from playing the game with everybody. Because the characters and the monsters, essentially, even though they do come with other weapons, they do come with other abilities, they're skins for the most part. You have the ability to play in a lobby that has these characters if you don't. It's not going to stop you from playing, whereas in Call of Duty, Battlefield, things like that, if you don't buy the most current map pack, you're stuck to the maps of the at launch playlist. So that hinders your game. It doesn't allow you to play the full game. Whereas in this, I can see where people can argue it because it is a character. Maybe it should be, maybe it shouldn't be in the full game. But it's not going to stop you from playing the game. Plus, you have the ability to see others play with it, either being YouTube videos or actually in-game while you're playing it. So if you certainly enjoy seeing what you see from that character or that monster, you do have the option to go buy it. It's not something that's necessary. But getting to the point of all this is the developers have announced that the maps and the modes for future DLC that will come out down the line will be free. And that's the part that I like about it. You're not going to be punished. You're not going to be broken up from the rest of the community if you do not buy the maps or the game modes. So that is nice to see. So that the other issues, the other anger, and people being upset about that, I'm working on a video and kind of putting my thoughts together on what I hope will be my only quote-unquote rant video, if you will. But there's a lot of things going around in the gaming community that I kind of want to get things off my chest, but neither here nor there. This isn't the title place for it. This is to talk about Evolve. So, like I said, that's the DLC. If you're buying everything and you're looking at kind of a sizable investment in this game, I believe upwards of $130, $140 for a game that didn't come with a special edition with that price tag. So if you're a casual gamer, or this isn't a type of game that is your main genre that you play or that you're really into, at $60 a pop for the base game, I don't know if that's going to be something that you're really going to want to commit financially to. If it's a genre or a type of game that you're into, you like those shooter games and you like games that require teamwork and tactics and things like that, I do think this is a game that you're really going to enjoy, because Evolve does have that. It's just, again, go into it knowing that it can be played at $60 base price, but there are additional fees that are going to come with this game that if you want to get the quote-unquote full experience of the game, you're going to have to put some money into it, which, for me personally, being a fan of the game and a fan of this type of genre, I don't have a personal problem with it. I bought the season pass, so I'll get the fourth monster, or the fourth hunters and the fourth monster. I'll more than likely buy the fifth monster when it comes out. I'll have to wait and see about any hunters past the fourth set. I don't believe they've announced anybody past the fourth set right now, but it sounds like this game's going to get a lot of updates via DLC and things like that, so there may be additional hunters and monsters that come down the road as this game, gets older down its life cycle. So, with that said, I do have some gameplay footage that I'm going to put out here for you guys. It's a match that I was able to get into and get to play the monster, the Goliath. Don't warn you ahead of time. Didn't go my way very well. I was able to make it, I believe, to stage 2, but eventually I got killed. But give you a chance, guys, to see what the game plays like. I'll also kind of go over some of the things that I really liked about the game, some possible issues that maybe kind of come up with the game, and then some things that I didn't necessarily like, about it. And then I'll give you my personal score for me, and then what I feel a good score, a good representative score of this game would be, just as far as the overall gaming community and what you should expect when you purchase Evolve. So with that said, let's go ahead and get into the gameplay. Alright guys, before we go into the gameplay here, I forgot to mention the game modes earlier at the beginning of the video. Evolve does come with 5 different game modes. Your traditional hunt mode, a mode called Nest, where the hunters are charged to go destroy some eggs while the monster has to protect them, or they can hatch them and spawn some minions to help them in the fight. Rescue, which basically you have some stranded humans you have to go rescue. You pick them up. If you're the hunters, you pick them up, you take them to a drop point, they get extracted. If you're the monster, you have to try to kill those survivors to win them round. And then there's Defend. Obviously, it is a point defense game where you fight the monster and some minions as well. And then the fifth, which is kind of like where the story, I guess, could be, if you want to say it's in that aspect, it would be the Evacuation mode, which is a 5-round game mode that kind of encompasses all 4 games or modes, game types, and then adds the extra bonus there of, depending on a win or loss, it alters the world. So a good example would be is if you were the hunters and you lost, a dam would break in the world and all of the water would be filled with man-eating eels. Or if a power plant got destroyed, there would be poisonous gas clouds all over the place, and that alters the gameplay. So another aspect that really kind of interesting and unique to Evolve. So kind of go over the things that I liked about the game first. Like I mentioned there, the gameplay. I actually do like the gameplay of Evolve. I think when you look at the tactics and the strategy that is required to play the game as a hunter, Evolve isn't like Call of Duty or any of those other first-person shooters. You can't just go in there running and gunning. You actually have to work together as a team, and it's that team aspect that also leads to something that could potentially be an issue for some people. I'm going to kind of go into that as well. But to me personally, I enjoy the fact that you have to work together, you have to cooperate and talk to be able to successfully hunt and kill the monster. And then vice versa, if you're the monster, I like the idea of having to be able to sneak and use strategy. Use thoughts. When do I attack? Do I attack now? Do I wait and let them go by? Do I, what do I do? Having to think out your movements as opposed to, again, just running in there as a tank, just trying to deal massive damage. So I certainly do enjoy that part. The other thing I really like about Evolve, and I think you notice here in the gameplay, the worlds are absolutely gorgeous. I think the levels and the maps are really nicely put together. Couple that with the NPC wildlife as well as plant life. The environments that you'll run into and Evolve are certainly not like any other maps that I've ever played in an FPS game or in a game period that has map-based play on it. So I certainly do enjoy those. The other thing, like I said, is the characters. I like the fact that all of the hunters, when used correctly, play extremely well off of each other. The fact that their weapons, their abilities, they all complement each other, and a well-functioning team working together. It's just it just flows really well when you're playing the game, and you can actually feel that. You can feel that. If you're the medic and really all I'm doing is healing people, I may not be doing damage, I may not be shooting the monster, but I actually feel like I'm contributing to the game because I'm keeping the other three guys alive. If I'm the support guy and I'm shielding the assault so he can sit in there and deliver massive damage, I'm doing something. I'm helping the game. So the characters and the way they all mesh together is something, again, that I really did like about Evolve. But again, Evolve isn't without its faults. There are some things that I think could potentially be some issues, some points of contention for some players, depending on what your stance is with the game. And again, like I mentioned, if this is a game that you're really into, the type of genre that you really do follow, first and foremost, I'm going to tell you up front, it doesn't really have a story mode. It doesn't have a storyline to it. It doesn't have a clean-cut beginning, middle, and end. I would say if you're familiar with these newer type always online games, it would kind of be very similar to Titanfall. I do think there is more content and more backstory given in Evolve. It comes in the form of, as you're tracking the monster, the characters talk and interact with each other, so you kind of learn their backgrounds, why they're there, why they're doing what they're doing. And like I mentioned, the evacuation mode does come with some storyline to it, but if you're looking for a game that is going to be really story driven, Evolve's definitely not going to be that game for you. Another thing I think too is again, if this isn't your genre, your main type of game you like to play, and it isn't something you're really into, Evolve could get old pretty quickly. I think, for me personally, I'm a fan of FPS shooters, but I got bored with Titanfall pretty quickly. There was nothing there, at least for me, that kept me coming back to Titanfall. I think I might have played it till I was about a level 12 or 15. I didn't really play that much into it, as opposed to something like Black Ops 2, where by the time I was done with that one, I had almost 3 weeks worth of game time online. Evolve, I don't feel that way. For me personally, like I said, I like this type of game. I like the strategy required into it. I like the teamwork. So for me personally, I don't see myself ever really becoming bored with it. But again, like I said, if it's not your cup of tea per se or anything like that, or it's not the type of game that you really actually like playing the most, I could see where that would happen. And then there are some things that Evolve does right now that I certainly don't like, and I really hope they fix it going down the road. One, we're getting close to the game being out about a month, and it does still have some rather slow load times within the lobbies, gathering players, getting matches started. Sometimes it takes upwards of 5 minutes for that to happen, which personally for me, no big deal. I'll just pop out my DS or get on my Wii tablet and play some other games there, but I can see where that could be an issue for some people having to wait that long. There are still some server issues in the terms of you'll be playing a hunt match, and then for whatever reason it'll change to nest or rescue from just randomly, without actually going into a lobby for that game mode. So that could be something that needs to be updated. And then the biggest thing that I have an issue with is the evacuation mode. At its core, it's a really exciting game mode to play. Like I said, it incorporates those 5 rounds. You get to vote on what type of game you're going to play, and then those added bonuses of whether I win or lose, the game changes. The levels modify. I get certain buffs. I get certain things to go against me. I like that. The part that I don't like, and I really hope they change, is after each round, the previous alteration, the previous change or buff in the world goes away. It doesn't stay. They don't stack up through the entire game round. And so I really wish that would be kind of cool, because I think it would be cool that eventually you're playing in a world that has man-eating eels and toxic gas, and if you're the hunters, you went around, so you get beefed up extra strength turrets out there, and there's just this huge cluster of everything going on top of everything that's normally in the map. And I don't know if it's something that isn't possible or feasible to have that much going on at one time, because there's quite a bit of stuff going on in this game as you're playing it anyways. So I don't know. That's just something I really hope that they actually look into, implement, and change going down the line. So I would say for me, overall, myself personally, I love Evolve. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, this was is my most anticipated game of 2015. When I first saw it at E3 last year, this was the game I was looking forward to the most. When I bought my Xbox One, because I've had it for almost a year now, this was one of the games, and Destiny were the 2 main games that I bought this system for. I really looked forward to this game. So for me personally, with the dislikes I have and the things that I could see become an issue, I don't really see them as major issues for me. The issue with the evacuation mode being my biggest concern, it's not a deal breaker for me, and I don't think Evolve does anything that breaks that in this game is broken. So for me personally, I'm going to give it a personal score of 9 out of 10 for myself. And that's just me personally, because like I said, this was a game that I truly looked forward to and was really anticipating, and it didn't let me down. With that said, I do want to make sure my reviews are open and honest, and I want to provide you with as much positive and negative that I can provide you. I would say overall, Evolve would come in, I would say, about a 7, maybe an 8, depending on who you are, out of 10. 7 if, again, the repetitiveness kicks in, the lack of story is an issue. I don't think the load times in the servers issue are going to be too bad to where people have an issue with it, but it's going to be those other things that really push it down to that 7 range. And then again, if you're, got an issue with the DLC, then the way that's all handled, but I honestly don't understand why you would. And I would say an 8 if this is a game that you really think would be fun to play, which it is. But again, eventually 3, 4, 5, 6 months down the road or whatever, it may become, a back burner game that you trade in. Because like I said, it does have that potential to become repetitive and just more of a casual play than a hardcore play. So again, I would say overall, for my review, I would say I'm going to go in the middle, 7.5 out of 10, kind of meet both halfway. So 7.5 out of 10, which I think is still a solid score for this game. I think Evolve really does show off what the next gen could potentially be with its map and its gameplay. I think studios are still really learning how to figure out and tweak that multiplayer only and then combine it with a good story. So again, thanks guys for your time. Thanks for watching the video, and I will catch you next time. Peace. Enjoy the rest of your day.